everyone, it's Angela and I'm back with another colour mixing video for you, and today we're going to use red from the Colour Mill range, which is that oil based food colouring that I've been trialling this week, and we're going to try and replicate the different variants of red that are shown on the outside of the bottle. So the first thing you want to do is take the lid off of the bottle, and as I've explained in previous videos, they are quite tricky to remove, but that's a good thing because you want to make sure that that colour doesn't disperse whilst the item is actually being shipped to you. So go ahead and peel it off carefully with a paper towel or a wipe in your hand, and then you just want to screw the cap back on so that it's easy to dispense it into your icing. And for today's test, I'm going to be using 150 grams of buttercream icing. And remember, we use buttercream with this and not royal icing because the royal icing won't actually work with an oil-based colouring. So first of all, we're going to start by adding 1 drop of red, and then I'm just paddling that into my buttercream using my spatula, and I'm doing that to make sure that I don't add too much air to my icing. So straight away you can see it gives you a really nice pale pink colour. We're going to pop a little bit on this parchment square here because I want you to see how the colour develops with the more drops that you add. So now we're adding our second drop, and you can see straight away it does start to develop into a really nice deeper pink colour. More of a salmon pink than a bright pink, but it is still a really nice shade. So let's pop that second one there, and again you can see the difference between the first drop and the second drop, and now we're going to add our third drop. And this is essentially what I'm going to do throughout this test. I'm just going to add more and more drops until we've added 6, and then we're going to put them on the parchment sheet just to see how they all develop. So our third drop gives us a slightly more vibrant peachy pink colour. Again, it's not looking anywhere close to red yet, so we're going to keep going and add in more drops. Now with our fourth one, you can see that there are some red tones starting to develop in our icing. And remember, I'm not leaving this settle at all. I'm just doing this straight from the bottle so you can see what colour you can achieve right away without leaving your icing develop over time. Let's add our fourth one to our parchment, and again you can see it's got a little bit more of that red tone to it. It is developing nicely for us, although at this stage I'm not sure if we are going to get a really true red with it. But let's keep going anyway. So with our fifth drop, I can see that we do now start to have what I would call a very pale red. This may develop over time, but we're going to test that a little bit later in this video. But for now, let's pop it on the parchment. Again, you can see the colour differentiation between our 5 samples. So let's add our final drop. So with number 6, you would expect to see more of a red tone developing, although it may be that we're actually using a little bit too much icing and you would want to use a smaller quantity to achieve the colour on the bottle, because this seems more like the second dot on the bottle as opposed to the red that you see on the outside. I'll point out as well that this red is quite messy. It does seem to leak out of the bottle very easily, but don't be afraid if that happens to you. You can wipe it off very easily with something like a baby wipe, or even just with some white vinegar or IPA, isopropyl alcohol. Either way, it will come off nice and easily. Okay, so now that we've got our 6 done, I'm going to try something else. So there is a technique that's talked about. If you microwave buttercream icing, it should develop your colour more quickly. Let's have a look. So I've popped it in the microwave just for 10 seconds. You can see it has melted my icing quite significantly, but look at the difference in the colour. Now that to me is a true red. And that was just from microwaving for 10 seconds. And if you imagined if you stirred that into a bigger batch of icing, it would probably take on more of that red as well. So that's an interesting experiment for you to try out. Now we're going to do some time trials as well. So this is the batch that we made with our 6 dots, and I've left it sit on the counter for 10 minutes. You can see it hasn't really changed at all in the depth of the colour. Now let's come back to it at the 30-minute mark. And it does look like it has developed a fraction more, although it is still more of that pinky peach tone rather than a deep red. Again, we're going to compare it to that red that we microwaved as a guide. This is what it looks like after 1 hour. Slightly more red, I would say, but also still more on the pink side too. And then we're going to come back one more time and see what it looks like after 2 hours. And we're going to compare this to all of our other swatches from earlier as well. Now, quite honestly, I don't think this has developed as much as I thought it would have. It's interesting the microwave method worked the best. And I think we've definitely just got that second dot on the side of the bottle as opposed to that bright red. But it is still a really nice colour. Hope you found this useful to watch. Don't forget to check out the rest of my colour mixing videos, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.